To start, I know we want to talk about the present and the future, but I want to start about your feeling today. Do you feel finally like an insider, or do you think that you are tagged by people and caricatured as the perennial outsider? And if with your permission, I'm going back there.
Yeah, because I realized I've got my back to your lovely audience, so can't do that. Do I feel like an outsider? No, I don't. Actually, what I actually really feel like, and I get asked this question a lot when it comes to when people talk about the media. So, there's this kind of often love and hate relationship that we have with the media and some people have with the media. But whenever I've been asked that question, I've always answered something which I honestly feel. And that is that I started quite early in the film industry. I started when I was just before 18. And since then, most of the media people have been part of my life, whether it's the media, whether it's the audience, whether it's our supporters and our fans and the people who come and watch our movies, who I think, without them, we will not be who we are. I feel like they've all been a part of my journey. Like, I feel, I've said this before, like it's almost like you're a family. Now, sometimes that family is dysfunctional. Sometimes that family is happy. Sometimes that family is loving with each other, supportive in your good times and your bad times. And sometimes you have fights and disagreements. And that's really the way that I feel about not just the media, but also my place in the industry. Like, whether it's my colleagues, whether it's the people who I'm working with now. So today, right now, I'm on a film set with Akshay Kumar after a good few years, but we've been working together. He's one of my first co-stars I ever worked with. And when we're together on the film set, there's just such ease. And he's a true friend. If you had to ask me, what is it like? What is our dynamic like? He's a true friend. He's somebody who I trust, who I care for, and who I know cares about me. So the relationships that I've built in the industry, and even with my friends in the media and colleagues and the people who we work with, they're genuine relationships. They're true relationships.
But you make it sound so easy. We're here today celebrating not just women but also men who are allies. And you come from a family of daughters, of sisters. And I know that they're very, very private. And I'm not asking you so much about them as I'm asking you about the experience of growing up in a sort of brood of sisters, as it were, and possibly having to maybe be responsible, be the public face of this family, almost look after them, which 20 years ago would have been considered a guy's job to do, the guy in the family. Talk a little bit about having to look after your family, if that's the role you had to adopt pretty early on in your life.
For me, I think till date, the thing I can say that gives me the most happiness and the most pride and the greatest sense of fulfillment is the fact that by the grace of God, I have been able to look after my family and I have been able to keep my family together.
But how young were you when you had to start doing that?
Well, I think it was never a spoken thing. It was just something which I think it was the way things kind of worked out. We are super tight together. I have 6 sisters and then there's me, so there's 7 girls. And when we're all together,
I just love that there are 7 girls, right? I mean, I think that's applause worthy.
Yeah.
In a country where we're still judging families for producing, not producing boys. But go on.
I know. Every time I think about that, I really feel that I'm extremely blessed and extremely lucky to have an entire support system in my own family. I mean, just think about it. Like, see, just count the girls on this row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and
like that could be your whole family.
Yeah, that's like your football team. That's your circle. And we're so close. Just now, my sister got married in Colorado. And we were all there together getting ready and, wearing our dresses and really excited. And I was just looking around the room and feeling that how blessed I am really to have a family like this and to have that kind of love and support from my sisters. And I'm so proud of all of them. I mean, we have 3 doctors in our families, not medical doctors, but PhDs. And we all have, oh, sweet.
Feel free to clap. You don't have to be stingy with your applause.
Yeah. So whenever there's a kind of, that unspoken thing that, yes, you've done well, Katrina, but we have PhDs. I always have this thing, some actors, they get these honorary PhDs from the universities. Like I think Shah Rukh got recently from somewhere. And I'm like, I just might come up with one of those. I just might. But they're incredible. They're also we're also unique. We have one brother, one boy in the family, and oh, he's just the sweetest because he's one of those boys who have become 6'2", tough-looking guy, but is such a gentle heart. So if you ever tell him that you're having a problem, you're like an emotional issue, okay? Maybe you're having a problem with, a friend or something. He will be the best listener. He'll be like, oh, I understand what you're saying. And I'm like, how have you cultivated this incredible knowledge of women? Because he's just surrounded incessantly.
I mean, if Seven Sisters doesn't do it, I don't know what
I don't know what will. That's true.
But I want to ask you something. There is a public image of people who live in the public gaze, and then there is who they really are. And I find that with women, we get boxed in and stereotyped, and there's a narrative that's built around us. And this possibly, I have no sort of sense of living in the public gaze like you do, but even someone like me, his experiences, they'll construct a little narrative around you, and it doesn't matter how far from that narrative you actually are. Do you sometimes feel condescended to? Do you sometimes feel patronized in the way that you are caricatured? Do you feel trivialized? Do you feel underestimated?
Sometimes, but honestly, the times that I feel that is really less. And I'll tell you why. I hope I can explain this clearly, but I feel that if we are looking over our shoulder and around us at what people are saying about us and taking that to heart and letting that weigh us down, we are diverting our energy and our attention from where it should be, which is creating and doing what we want to do. And nobody can tell me what I want to do and what I can do. That's for me to decide. And if you believe in yourself and you believe in your dreams and you're clear about what it is that you want to achieve, then I don't even let what's happening on the left and the right, or let people's comments or the naysayers, I don't even let that come into my vision. Because
but it couldn't have always been like that.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, what? It's
been
17 years now in the industry? Wow. But at 17 years ago, when you were caricatured or trivialized or patronized?
I used to feel bad. That's a good way of putting it, because you're asking me that question today, actually. I have to think about it that way. No, I would feel bad. I would feel that, I would just feel that people were so quick to make assumptions and judgments without really giving you a chance of getting to know you. But even having said that, sorry, I know it's sounding like I'm just singing like all these positive songs right now. Of course, there are other times that have been difficult in my life, but I still feel that I haven't, for the most part, people have been supportive, and people have been pretty good with me.
What is the most, I'm persisting with this because I have a sense that what happens with women is we soldier on, and it's almost like this brutalization. You just internalize your tough parts, and when you look back at your life, you're like, oh, it wasn't that tough. Yeah. You know what? Men don't go through the shit we go through. So the question is this. You can bring that on. Yeah. The question is this. What is the most hurtful thing you've ever heard said about yourself that actually broke your heart or interfered with your sense of self or got under your skin, where you spent an evening saying, why, how dare they see me like that?
I mean, the most hurtful things or the tough things that I've had to deal with in my life have not come from honestly people in the media or from people around me. I think what you're saying is right in a way. If I give it a minute and think about it, it's probably because it's now become my inherent nature to fight for everything.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I don't notice
your second nature to fight, and the fighting becomes normal.
And the fighting becomes normal. So I think my constant perseverance and my constant, which is I think all of our constant struggle to fight and to push for what we believe in and to make happen what we want to happen in our life, and to not be seen as an overpowering or overly domineering woman just because you have a point of view. I think that's something which you can sometimes,
Are you defensive about being seen as domineering? Do you feel there's pressure on us to not be domineering?
It depends in what industry you're in. I mean, there are many, many times, and there's been many times in my life where you are at a table and surrounded primarily by people who are men, and you can tell that after you said one or two lines, the third line is not welcome, whatever it is that you're saying and however valid it may be. And I think that's something which is kind of almost subconscious. A lot of times people don't realize what they're doing. But as you said in the beginning, when you said that, there are a lot of people who are not like that, there are also many, many people who throughout, especially when I was, in my teenagers, just stepping into the film industry, finding my voice, there were many actually, incredible guys who were the ones to encourage me in the path I was on and to find my voice. One of them being Kabir Khan, who was my first director I worked with in New York, and then we went on to do the Tiger series, Ek Tha Tiger. And he was such an open-minded person. He's a documentary filmmaker, and he is the kind of guy who was genuinely listening. Like, I mean, how many women here, just put up your hand if you know when a guy is genuinely listening to you? I mean, you know, right?
Can I add a question to that? How many times do you feel a guy is genuinely listening to you? Like, like literally, I was thinking when she was saying that, I don't remember the last time I thought a guy I was talking to was actually listening to me.
Oh,
like,
no.
I'm
no,
telling
no.
you.
Oh, that's
any guys here volunteering to listen? No, but seriously, raise your hand if you think men actually listen to you when you're talking to them. That's not enough hands. Katrina, continue with what you're saying.
Yeah, no, it's not enough hands, but I'm going to take you to meet some of my friends, because some of my friends are great listeners.
I'm up for it. Okay.
Ali's a great listener. The director, Ali Abbas Zafar, he gets on the FaceTime with me, and he puts the phone, we put the phone, and then we just start. And I don't stop. And he's listening. So there are some people who are incredibly supportive. But having said that, I think it's very clear. And as a woman, like you're saying, you know when a person's listening. Mm-hmm. And when I can see that the person is not registering or is not interested in what I'm saying, then I just switch off. Mm-hmm. I switch off. I don't try and push my point. I don't try and persist with my point.
Are you non-confrontational?
Yeah, I think so. Unless there is, unless it's a matter of self-respect or dignity, at the most, apart from that, I'm a very, very non-confrontational person.
And why is that? Do you think that's a female thing?
I think it's more a Cancerian thing. Just Cancerians are actually like kind of very gentle in the inside, and they have this hard exterior, but actually I think they just like to kind of be safe,
and hide behind veneer.
Hide behind, yeah.
So we're trying to bring that veneer down today in this conversation. I have to ask you one more question on, because you make it sound so easy, and I know it's never easy for any woman in any profession. Does it offend you to sometimes always be contextualized with men that you have either been with or people think you've been with? And in some ways, I find that those personal questions are never directed at men in the way that they're directed at women. Women are often coupled with men, real or imagined, in a way that men just never are with women. And I'm just wondering whether that's got to a point where it's offensive, where you may laugh it off when you're asked, but aren't you fed up of it?
Well, I mean, that's the only one thing. I think I have said this myself on stage multiple times, that don't ask a question on stage to a woman that you're not going to ask to a man.
Absolutely.
And if there's a man sitting with me on stage, as there most oftentimes is in our film promotions, if you're asking me that question, make sure that you would ask that to the person sitting next to you.
Give me an example of some questions that still only women are asked that the man sitting next to you is not asked.
Well, I mean, we're asked a lot about pay disparity, and I think that's because it's so evident that it's there. I know there's a big debate about it, and the debate is that where a lot of the men say that, okay, but the opening figures that are guaranteed with a male star are slightly more historically proven, thus this is why there's a fee difference. My kind of thought on that, or my argument to that, is something which I discuss quite a lot with my producers who I'm close with, who I've done a lot of work with, which is that give the female-dominated films, or female protagonist films, with maybe one or two female leads, give them the same budget and mounting that you're giving to the male stars, or the combination of a male and a female star. Give that to a female film and see what happens with that film. Because I really believe that if you take a film with two female leads who are, and a great story with a great director, and you give it that budget and that mounting and that scale, I believe it has the potential to do those numbers. We just need to see that confidence come from the producers more to take that risk and put that investment into the film.
So it's about the opportunity, it's about the platform.
It is about that platform. If you're gonna, let's say Tiger, okay?
Yeah.
So, or let's say War, big, huge action films, huge budgets. If we mount a different film. It could be a comedy film. It could be like a really fun summer blockbuster film. If we give that film the same mounting, the audience will feel that this is an event film. If most of our female protagonists films, female-driven films, are small ideas and smaller in content and smaller in nature, how can the opening compare to the Dhoom 3s of the world?
So that marquee platform is never given to women, or rarely given to women.
It's rarely given. I would say rarely to never given.
Does that not make you angry?
It doesn't make me angry. It makes me super passionate because it is my ambition to try and make this happen. I mean, of course, we're seeing incredible female-driven films that are happening on many other types of films, like the slightly more story-driven films. But I want to see a film with just not supported by men, with the same budget that you give to, the big action franchises.
So tell me this, how different is it to be a woman in today's industry compared to when you entered? Has anything changed? What has substantively changed, if it has? And if nothing has, say so.
Thank you.
The fact that you're taking so long to answer tells me the answer.
No, there are changes. I think the awareness is coming. That's what I would say. Awareness is coming of the intent to change and the intent for a greater sense of equality in the workspace and for women, and a greater sense of protection in the workspace for women. The desire and the intent for change has come in now. I don't think we've seen the full action of it yet. We've not seen the full actionability of the change, but we've seen the intent. I think that's the greatest change that I would say.
So one of the conversations we've been having on stage all morning is, where is that balance between the hypersexualization that women are under pressure on the one hand, and the complete repression of sexuality on the other? And Karan Johar was on stage in the morning, and he said that he used to be a big item number proponent, and now he looks back at those films and he thinks he made a mistake. So I'm just wondering, as a contemporary, modern young woman, are there certain roles that you used to take on that today you will think 100 times about? Would you say, this is beneath me, this is sexist, this is misogynistic, this is objectifying women, I'm not comfortable with it anymore, as you evolve?
Of course I would, but then that's because the person that I am today is different than the person I was when I was 18 or 19. There are things that I wouldn't accept in my own life. There are things I wouldn't accept in my relationships. We all grow and mature and evolve as women. So obviously, who chooses the roles that I'm doing? Me. The person I am, my personality, my belief system, that's who chooses the roles I'm doing, right? So if the person I am then and the person I am today is different, of course my barometer will be different. You're not going to be the same as you in your 30s as you are when you're 19.
So I want to know how
you don't know yourself, right?
I want to know what's changed in you.
What's changed? Okay, so I think probably the roles that I look to now need to have a little bit more personality. I think before there is a phase in our life, I think, when we're in our early teens and we're still discovering ourselves and we're having fun and life is seeming really fun. Like, I remember being on the sets of like Singer's King and Welcome, and just everything in the world seemed so happy and fun. And that's what I was doing. I was having just a really, really good time, and I was enjoying being part of this incredible world of cinema. Today, when I hear a script, I kind of just hear it like this, and all I'm hearing to do is to hear if there's something that I emotionally connect to in the story. I wouldn't have done that before, because I think my emotional intelligence was not fully developed. Now, when I hear something, I look for something I could connect to, like in Bharat, the film which I did last. I felt that I could connect to the emotions that she was feeling. Being alone, working in this kind of very male-dominated environment, the kind of way she had to kind of demonstrate, or enforce her authority at the workplace without being overbearing. So there were so many different things that I could just find, that I could see myself being able to mentally connect with this character. In Zero, I felt that was, again, a very interesting portrayal, a very interestingly written character that had a lot of layers to it. And I think that's where I'm finding my enjoyment in my work now, is just making sure that I connect on an emotional level.
What do you feel about ageism and the fact that this is something that a number of women have brought up, and you actually have stalwarts like Soni Razdan and Neena Gupta saying that nobody writes roles for women our age, but men do get to romance. It's almost like men are these eternally young creatures in this film industry, and they're constantly romancing women, sometimes 20 years younger, sometimes 30 years younger. It's kind of insane. Like, does that get to you? Do women feel a kind of pressure that I've got fewer years in this industry than the men? And that's, to me, the worst kind of ageism.
Well, just be careful what you fear for, because what you fear usually becomes your reality. So for me, I see it a little differently. I like to be very clear in my head that what I want to achieve, and not get burdened down by the typical stereotypes, and not get burdened by the thoughts that other people might be thinking or might be saying about me in any area of my life. If I have a clear vision in my head what I want to achieve, and in my work, in the workspace, in cinema right now, then that's all I'm focusing on. I'm not focusing on what other people are saying. If you're talking about, also, you mentioned something about the writing for women. I do feel one thing which I think is a very glaring comparison that we have, which when you see that, it does raise a concern or raise a question, and that is that when you look to American cinema, or to what's happening in the West, in English films, you do see incredible writing for women, and it is there on a larger scale. Like when you see the kind of films which Charlize Theron is doing, which Nicole Kidman doing, who are actresses who've been around for a very long time, they're doing their best work now. That they're doing their
best films now. They can also come on screen and not necessarily wear makeup and look their age, and there are roles for that.
Because they've been supported by great writing and great storytelling, and that's what it's there. Whether you see Big Little Lies, or there's so many incredible shows right now that are happening that are written for women with these characters in mind and created that way. That we are very, very far behind. We are far behind. In our writing for women, like even when we were discussing this film, I'm saying I've been looking for a script. I've been discussing it with people every time someone comes to me with this film, which is maybe a guy and a girl. I'm like, hey, listen, what about doing a story like this, or have you heard a story like this, which is more with women? In a big, fun commercial space, and it's not there. It's just not there yet.
And that's why there is this absence of equality in even what seems to be a friendly, benign industry. I do have to ask you, we'll open up the floor for questions for a couple of minutes. You're turning entrepreneur. You have a new makeup line out. How difficult has it been to transition to being your own businesswoman?
It was an incredible journey in the last 2.5 years, but it was also an interesting one. But it also was there was a lot of work that went behind it. Most people don't know, but it's been about 2 years that I've been working on this makeup line, K-Beauty, with the most incredible partners, Nykaa. So Falguni Nair and Reena, who are the CEOs of Nykaa, I mean, these are the kind of women also that you want to be meeting and you want to be speaking to, because they are really so innovative and they are so supportive of each other and of other women. And I've had the most incredible time putting this line together, and it's been a huge dream of mine, because after my experience in the beauty industry with the advertising I did for many brands, before I created we created K-Beauty together, I felt that I wanted to now say and to talk about beauty in the way I wanted to. And that is that it's completely inclusive. There is no ideal standard of beauty. There is no image of beauty. It's being who you are. It's being comfortable in yourself. And it's having fun with it. That's why Falguni Nair and Reena gave me the full freedom to do this incredible video, which I did, which was the 1 minute kind of ad I created with K-Beauty. There was no product in it. It was just written beautifully by Zoya Akhtar based on our conversations about what we felt women are today, what women feel today, in a fun way. And we just sat, I called up all the women who I love and who I admire, whether it's Raja Kumari or Kusha Kapila, who's just so much fun and so full of life. And these are the most incredible girls who came down, Saina Nehwal, Nayantara, who flew down from the south, and just a bunch of women who came. They came from me. Let me tell you that also. So when women want to come together and support each other, you can create beautiful things. They came from me. There was no cost involved, and they just came to support me. And that honestly was one of the most beautiful experiences I've had in the last few years, because I just picked up the phone. I didn't have a manager call, and every single woman who I called or girl who I called was so supportive. I can't tell you. They were so sweet. They were like, that's incredible. We love that you're doing this, and yes, we'll be there for you. It was just
fantastic. Okay, we have time for a few questions. First, show me where the mic is. Okay, so I'm going to give a question to this young girl in the yellow shirt. Yes.
Hi, Katrina. So we've seen your journey over these years, and we've seen how you turn into the superstar that you are today. But I just want to ask you, what is the message that you want to give out to thousands of girls out there who move out of their homes at such early age and just to follow their dreams? And how do they just not lose out on that motivation and determination while they face the struggles in any industry they're in? So what is that message that you would want to give out to people, to girls especially?
Should I ignore that?
Yeah, ignore that.
I'm not talking about that question.
That's for me.
There's a sign on the board saying time's up.
It's never. I'll rephrase that and say our time is now.
Okay.
Just go.
Sorry. So I would say, because time's up, I'll keep it short. I would just say one thing, which is that don't be afraid of hearing rejection. Don't be afraid of facing rejection. Don't be afraid when you feel lonely. Don't be afraid when you feel scared. Don't let that stop you. You know, I think what was a great learning for me is that, you know, courage is not the absence of fear. It's the perseverance in the face of fear. So don't let these things stop you. Don't let them stop you, because you know what happens when I used to do this a lot. I used to look at other successful people, even my colleagues, and feel, oh, you know how they're doing this? Because they're not insecure. They're not scared of anything. Oh, they have absolute belief in themselves. And one day I realized that, hey, one second, that's probably not true. I think every one of us, and definitely me, we wake up in the morning, on some days it's a great day, and on some days you feel insecure, you feel you look terrible, you feel you're not doing good, you feel all the insecurities that we can feel. You have to face that and keep on going. Don't let that stop you, because most of the time it's not other people who stop us, it's ourselves and our own fears.
Thank you. That's well said. Here in the front row. Just pass her the mic. Pass the mic. We've got a packed house for Katrina, so we're going to have to be a little agile with the mic. Yes.
Hi, Katrina. I'm a hugest fan of you. As a person, you are. I've been following you, and I can relate to you a lot because you say that you're shy and introvert. So we do have a lot of feelings, but sometimes it's not so easy for us to express ourselves. And, you know, sometimes extroverts, you know, they're having some conversation, and sometimes we feel that we might be right, but we're not able to express. So how do you manage social interactions and making your voice heard that time? It's a tricky situation.
Are you shy?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It is hard. Even sometimes, I mean, you want to, what it is, I think, those people who are naturally more shy and introverted, you only want to be in situations or social gatherings where you feel completely safe and protected. So like with your best friends or your family. And there
so
you have a blast.
When do you drop your guard?
I mean, it's with your closest inner friend circle and with your family. Like the most truliest you can be yourself is always with your family, and maybe those 5, 6 friends, you know, who are like you all climb onto the bed and, you know, have girls talk, whether it's boys or girls, and that's your circle. But in other work situations where you have to hold your own and you have to be taken seriously, then those are the moments where you need to focus on what it is that you want to do, and don't let your personality. Always remember that everyone in that room probably is feeling the same fear and insecurity you're feeling. They're probably feeling as awkward as you, as uncertain of themselves, as uncertain of their voice, but they're not letting it stop them. So if you're in that situation, don't let it stop you. Feel it. It's okay. We feel awkward. I feel awkward. There's a lot of people in this room. But just face it and keep going. Just don't let that stop you. Keep going. Say what you need to feel. And just remember that almost everyone feels insecure and uncertain of themselves.
Okay, I'm going to take another question somewhere maybe in the middle. I want to give younger people a chance here. So, okay, stand there. Let's get a question from a guy.
I'm so glad you're making these decisions.
I know. Hang on. Yeah, go for it.
I really can't believe I'm talking to Katrina.
Okay, you have to speak into the mic. And I love when men lose their coherence in front of women. I absolutely love it.
Okay.
That's how it should be at all times. Go ahead with your question.
I mean, I really can't believe I'm talking to you. I mean, honestly. I mean, I really forgot.
Okay, hello. Do you have a question or not?
Yes, I have.
So go for it then. Jaldi say.
When are you getting married?
Okay. Bullshit question. No. Okay. You have to sit down because you wouldn't have asked a guy that. Okay.
I'm already
No,
married.
you have to sit down. Okay.
You've incurred the wrath of Buttercup.
That's it. No, you have annoyed me now because it is useless to spend a day here and at the end of it, the only thing you can think of asking women is who's the bloody guy in your life? Not interested. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. Anyone else?
Ma'am.
Is there a guy who can prove that he can ask a more meaningful question? A more meaningful question.
Yeah, he's feeling confident.
A more meaningful question. There. Okay. Okay, take the mic. And if you ask a question about men, I will make you sit down. Okay.
First of all, Katrina, congratulations for the K-Beauty.
Thank you.
And you are at 29.9 million followers right now at Instagram, so it will be 30 million very soon.
Thank you.
And I would like to add that even your siblings, sisters or a brother, they are saying that you are not having doctor in your name.
Question.
Counter to that is they are not having Madam Tussar.
There are no coherent men in front of Katrina Kaif.
Just a moment.
This is my opinion.
Let me continue.
Jaldi karo.
None of your siblings having their statue in Madame Tussar also. So this is one of the best thing. And I would like to ask you when we can find Suzanne ma'am on this stage.
Okay, I'm going to ask a woman to ask a question because I think the men have lost it. They have simply lost it. Second row, third row here. Yes, in the black shirt. No, pass her the mic. Pass her the mic. One more chance? Okay, you and you. Go for it.
Okay.
Please ask a question. I think this is the impact you have on these guys.
Okay, one question.
Competitions.
Okay, this is a sensible question, I promise. Yeah, I promise.
Come on, we have faith in you.
Ma'am, you stated the fact that you're a true Cancerian, right?
Yes.
So I am also Cancerian, and it is really a pleasure to ask you such type of questions which is really personal to me, all right? So, as a true Cancerian, I feel that
It's not possible. The guys can't ask questions.
I feel
That's it.
rejection.
Stand.
No,
Stand.
Ma'am, how do you
have
handle
30 seconds to
rejection?
complete your question.
How do you handle rejections in your life?
How do you handle rejection?
Rejection.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, that's a
Got
question
it.
finally.
We got there in the end. Patience, but it's there. To know that you're never alone in it. You're never alone in it. Things in life always seem so overwhelming and daunting when you feel it's only me and it's only happening to me, and it's not. It happens to everyone, and we're all going to face rejection at some point in our life, and there's always going to be something better. I promise you.
Okay. Last question to the young lady here. Ma'am, you. Yes. Yes. Here, yeah.
So I wanted to know you to tell more about entrepreneurship. I've seen your video on K-Beauty, and you're really inspiring. And even I'm doing a job right now, and I wish to be an entrepreneur in future.
Okay, hold the mic closer and ask your
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. So can you tell us more
About entrepreneurship. Okay, last question.
Hard work, and perseverance. I promise you. I mean, just to get that video done, it was 3 months of night and day, round the clock work, and I've got a fantastic team and a fantastic partners in K-Beauty, but still, it was 24 hours, constant focus on what your goal is, and just be really clear what you're trying to say. If you have a product that you wish to engage with or launch, or a business, maybe it's an app or a mobile app or some sort of digital app, be clear what it is you're trying to say with the product and what you want to do with the product first, rather than just looking at the business that you want to entertain.
Okay, I have to ask you something. Do you ever get angry, and what makes you angry?
Do I get angry at what makes me angry? Oh yeah, I wish that sometimes that the bad things about me were not the bad things about me. Yeah, like I wish I was more like that person and more like that person. But I think I'm hard on myself, and I think that's we all are hard on ourselves.
And I think that's one of the things women need to stop being. Thank you so much, Katrina Kaif. It was wonderful talking to you. You know, these men were all asking great questions all day. And then you came on stage and something just happened to them.
I'm sorry.
No, don't sorry. Celebrate it. Let's give it up for Katrina Kaif. Come on. You loved that conversation. Let's give it up. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.